Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Tour Podcast. Back, and we're better. Today, we have my good friend, Isaac VanWestrienen. Did I pronounce that right, Isaac?
Yes, you did.
Heck yeah. Isaac, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time, for coming over to the humble abode today. And first question for you, where does your last name come from?
My last name is Dutch. It was originally Westrienen a very long time ago, which basically translates to west of the Rhine River. So it was like a name for where my ancestors lived, and the Van is actually a military title. So somebody a long time ago did something cool in a war. So that's where that comes from.
Van, like what is that particularly in a war?
I don't know what it means, but the V is lowercase and the W is capital. So it's a suffix last name.
That's cool. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most unique names I've seen. And Isaac and I met. It was last summer for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we both know Brock Kelly. Shout out Daily Mile T here on the screen. Daily Mile T, our boy, and Isaac currently is a runner at the Division III school Cornell in Iowa, and he is going into his senior year, and is going to be a force to reckon with for his senior year, and actually has more eligibility after that. But yeah, I think just for the listener today, Isaac, let's start at the beginning. Maybe let's start with where you're from and maybe your journey to where you're at right now.
Okay, so I was born in Minnesota, lived there for 10 years. Still a Vikings fan. I got the tattoo on my arm. It's a little painful a lot of the time, but you gotta love it. Lived there for 10 years, and then my grandparents were in the Denver area. So we came out to visit them and just loved it. And then my dad was able to get a transfer out here for his job. Started running community 5Ks when I was like 6. I think I ran my first 5K. It wasn't anything impressive. It was like, I don't know, 38 minutes or something. But that's where the love for that came from. And then really, so my parents are out in the mountains. My shins don't enjoy running all on pavement or up and down hills all the time, which is why I come out here and to Boulder as much as I can. But yeah.
Very, very cool. And Evergreen, right, is where the
Yes.
family's at now. And yeah, it's a very pretty town. Not too far, 45 minutes from the Boulder area.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just 45 minutes into the mountains. And maybe when somebody looks at you initially, they maybe think that you're a basketball player. You're pretty tall. I'm also tall. I know I get the same. You're tall and lanky. Is that something that you ever get asked?
Oh yeah. I deliver pizzas for Domino's this summer, and almost every customer, hey, do you play basketball? Nope, I'm a runner.
That's the cool thing about running, though, is there's people all shapes, sizes, different form, different body types, and it's cool because you can run fast no matter how you look. Whereas a lot of the other sports, I feel like you kind of have to have a certain body type, at least like the main sports like football and basketball especially. But did you ever play any other sports growing up?
Oh yeah, I played all of it. I wasn't allowed to play football or hockey. So I'm one of the only people who grew up in Minnesota who never played competitive hockey. I played with my friends on the street, obviously, or on our pond in the backyard. But I played basketball. I played baseball for about 8 years. I thought I was going to play that through high school, and then I did cross country for the first time my 8th grade year, and I was going to do cross country in the fall, baseball in the spring in high school. And then I did my first cross country season and decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do.
That's great. Why did you decide not to, or why were you not allowed to do hockey or football?
My mom didn't want me to get hurt, which I was really mad about at the time, but now I am definitely better off for it now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my mom also, our camera might have run out of battery there. My mom also didn't allow me to play football or even think about it. And that's always been my favorite sport at least to watch, has been football. But I was also really small. I didn't hit puberty until before my junior year of high school. When did you hit puberty? Or when did you start growing?
I've been tall the whole time. I mean,
out of the womb tall.
Yeah. My siblings and I all had the same thing where we're super chubby babies and then don't gain any weight for about 6 years, from about 2 to 8 years old, and just stretch.
Do you know how much you weighed when you were born?
I don't remember.
I was 9 pounds and 12 ounces. I was a huge baby. My brother, I think, was too. Bless my mom. And yeah, I can't remember my length. I know I have my birth certificate around here somewhere, but yeah, I was really picky as a child, I guess. But I was 5'5" my freshman year of high school, and then before my junior year, I must have grown 5 or 6 inches, because my junior year I was like 6'1", and just totally. But by that point, I was so deep into running, and that I didn't really have a chance at any of the other more explosive sports. What got you? So you said freshman year you did cross country, and then you're like, nah, I don't want to do baseball anymore. Why'd you decide to just stick with running at that point?
Well, I didn't have the greatest hand-eye coordination. I have a ton of pictures of me playing basketball, and my focus face was like mouth closed but my tongue sticking out, and my coaches would always say, oh, one of these days you're going to bite your tongue off. So I did enjoy basketball. I was really good at defense. I couldn't play offense at all. That was about the same thing in baseball. I couldn't hit the ball, but I was a great shortstop. And then I realized my freshman year, I think I ran 21 minutes for my first 5K, and then got it down to about 19 minutes by the end. And my coach told me, if you put in the work, you could be really good at this. So that's kind of what made me really focus on running.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's motivating. Yeah, I bet you were a good defensive player and shortstop with your levers. Just for context for the listener, for those not able to watch, are you 6'5"?
Yes, I'm 6'5".
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool. And so then in running, like you accepted that challenge. Was it also something that you really enjoyed, that you believe that you could, from that early age too, that you believe that you could be great at? Or was it kind of just like, oh, this could be cool, I'm initially kind of good at it, maybe you had some good friends at it or on the team, or did you fall in love with the sport, or how did that go?
Yeah, I definitely fell in love with the sport before the sport really started to give back to me. Initially, I wasn't planning on pursuing it for a long time. I didn't really follow the professional running scene at all. And then it was the fall of my junior year. So my sophomore year track season got canceled because of COVID, obviously.
Crazy.
And I think I was in pretty good shape then, but I came from a super high mileage program. I regularly ran 60 to 70 miles a week in high school, which is very high, but the intensity was so low that I think I didn't ever burn out in the way that a lot of people who run high mileage burn out in high school. But just having that 3 months to train and then take a break and then build up again for the next season got me in really, really good shape. And I ended up running between 16:10 and 16:20, I think 5 times at altitude the fall of my junior year. And that's when I kind of realized, okay, I can be really good at this, and I want to run in college.
Yeah, that's cool. Are all the races that you were doing, well, because Evergreen's at 8,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
Were the races up there too, or would you come lower to race?
That season, we pretty much exclusively raced at 7,000 feet or higher, just because you couldn't travel as much. The meets were a lot smaller still. So I ran a couple home meets at Conifer High School. One of them, we ran straight up the mountain and straight back down the mountain. That was miserable.
Oh my gosh.
There was a 5K course with probably 170 feet of elevation gain or something.
Wow.
That was brutal. Then the next week, there were rumors that the state qualifying was going to be different because of the restrictions, and they were just going to take whatever the top 100 times. So then my coach made a all downhill course that finished up with a mile on the track.
Wow.
So it was not a cross country race at all, but it was at 8,400 feet. So
oh my gosh,
it kind of evened out. I ran 16:08 there. That was my PR for a long time.
Wow.
And then we had the next race was in Evergreen again. We had regionals in Gypsum, which was at altitude. I think that year we were able to go down to Grand Junction for one meet. So that was our one like low elevation
That's crazy
meet.
Dang. Yeah, 8,400 feet to race. I guess just for context for maybe those listening and not recognizing just the difficulties behind running when the altitude is that high. I think like here in Boulder at like 5,400, the mile conversion is 6-7 seconds probably at least, and so probably when it's that high per mile it's 11-12 seconds at least.
Yeah,
probably.
I remember one of my teammates was hurt that season, and as he was coming back, he ran a time trial on our track. So that like the top of the high school is at around 8,400 feet, like behind the high school. So we got up to that in the race, but then the track is down at 8,200 feet, and he ran a time trial on that track in 15:24.
Wow.
Which we ran the elevation conversions, and that converted to, I think it was around 14:35 or 14:40. So it's a pretty significant elevation conversion at that altitude.
Dang. Wow. Did you feel like it was pretty easy to enjoy and fall in love with running being in Evergreen / Colorado? Like do you have a lot of good places to run around your high school? I mean, being in Boulder, obviously we have tons and tons of great places to run right out our door, but was it the same in Evergreen?
It depends on your definition of good. It definitely gets you extremely fit. We really only had two options running from the high school for practice. We could either run around the neighborhoods or we could run on the trails, and either option was going to get you 1,000 feet of elevation gain every single day. So it hurt a lot. We didn't really easy to run super often. You would run 8-minute pace, but it wouldn't be all that easy because you're running, you'd have a mile on almost every run that was over 200 feet of elevation gain.
Wow. Yeah, that'll make you good, but I feel it's so pretty up there too that that's helpful. And I just think about where I went to high school, and we had one sidewalk basically to run on that we did every day, and I can understand and yeah, it's through like a forested park, but maybe running isn't as enticing or being somewhere like that, whereas being somewhere really beautiful like Colorado and being outside is such a huge part of the culture here, that would definitely, I guess, like motivate me a little bit. But yeah, I guess when you're in the mountains, you're not really getting a bunch of flat. You guys didn't have any like flat dirt roads or anything?
No, there's actually no dirt. You have to drive about 40 minutes from Conifer if you want to get on any kind of dirt. We did have one road by a river that we would go to once or twice a week that was flat. So that was usually our Tuesday run. We'd work out Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday would be a flat run. So that was nice.
Wow. Heck yeah. What is Conifer known for? Well, first of all, how many people live in Conifer?
A couple thousand for sure.
Okay.
The mountain towns are the city lines are so strange, but with the canyons and everything, that it's hard to get an exact number. But definitely, I'd say around 5,000.
Okay. Because is your family technically live in Conifer? Like, are you technically?
Our address is technically Evergreen. But
okay.
I ran for Conifer High School.
Okay. And so, is there a high school in Evergreen, or were you just like positioned for or zoned, I guess, for Conifer?
Yeah, there is a high school in Evergreen. They were one of our biggest rivals.
Okay.
But I was on the Conifer side of Evergreen. So
interesting.
I ran for Conifer.
How many people live in Evergreen?
Evergreen's about 10 or 12,000.
Okay. Dang. What was y'all's mascot?
The Lobos.
The Lobos. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go. What is a Lobo? Is it a dog?
So it's just the Spanish word for wolf.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. So what is Conifer or even Evergreen? What are they known for?
Well, we would always say we had some celebrities at Conifer. The two main ones are Trey Parker from South Park.
Oh, really?
He was a Conifer grad, and then Blaine Sumner has all of our throwing school records. He was the current world record holder in the squat for the heavyweight division. I think he squatted like, I don't know, 2,500 pounds or something disgusting like that.
No way. That's
he always has a headband when he lifts.
Wow.
Other than that, there's a ton of hiking trails. Hiking and mountain biking are definitely the two big things to do.
Dang. And you said he's I'm still stuck on this world champion squatter. You said he's the current world record holder right now?
As far as I know, yes.
Wow. Dang, that's crazy. So how many people in your high school graduating class?
Somewhere around 200. I didn't go to Conifer. I was homeschooled. I just ran for them because
that's right.
Fortunately in Colorado, you are allowed to run for a high school even if you're homeschooled. If we hadn't moved from Minnesota, I would not have been able to do that.
Dang. Talk a little bit about being homeschooled. What was the decision behind that? Were you homeschooled your whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about that experience.
Okay, my mom has a degree in early childhood education, so that's where she kind of started us off. So I was homeschooled all the way through high school. I think my brother's enrolling at Conifer for a couple of electives this year, just because he wanted to get some more experience in that before going to college. But I think it definitely got a little bit harder once you get to like middle school age. Then you're so much more independent, and it's kind of hard to be in the house all the time. But I think being homeschooled prepared me extremely well for college because I did it's called a co-op. I would basically go to a church and meet with my group. It was called Classical Conversations. So we would just talk about everything that we did in the last week, and that was once a week. We usually met on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And then the rest of the time would be at home. I had my guide, which was basically my syllabus for the week, and that would tell me what I had to do before the next time we met, and I would make my whole schedule for the week myself. So I was very fortunate to be able to go to college and have the same exact setup pretty much, where I knew how to make my schedule each week. I knew how to get everything done on my own without anybody really forcing me to do it.
Wow. Dang. That's cool. So, and would you say that that's been a trait of yours for a long time, or when you were growing up, did you kind of have to, or did your parents or your mom kind of have to be like, all right, Isaac, like, let's get rolling? Or, because that's just super interesting to me, I guess, just because I went public school, all the way through and always just had to be at school at this time and classes. And then obviously everything was given to me that way. But have you always had like that kind of self-starter attitude, or?
I feel like I have. I don't really remember what it was like when I first started doing that. I know some subjects were always harder for me, like math. I never wanted to get started on, so I'd put that off till the end of the day. I took Latin. That was my language, which is not something that very many people take, but I had to do flashcards for that, and I remember putting those off and then having to cram like all of my vocabulary in 1 or 2 days, which was definitely not the way to do it. But I think for the most part, and my mom might have a different opinion on it, but I think for the most part, I did a pretty good job of starting everything on my own.
Wow. And Latin, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know any Latin anymore, or like, how many years did you study Latin for?
I studied Latin for 6 years.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Can you even do Latin on like Duolingo or anything?
I'm not sure. The hard thing with Latin is it's outside of the Catholic Church. It's not a spoken language.
Yeah.
But it is the backbone of almost every language today. So I can read
Wow.
a decent amount of Spanish, Italian, French, because it's just the derivatives, words that come from Latin, words that I know, where I can make sense of a sentence even if I don't know all of the things that it's trying to say.
That's sweet. 6 years. That's super cool. I think I know one Latin phrase, and it's memento mori. Do you know what that means? It's okay.
It's been a while.
I'm putting you on the spot. It means death is inevitable. Kind of like a sobering. It's very sobering, but important. I heard a stat yesterday, like the Stoics that, or just people that think about death more, enjoy their life more, which is interesting. You think that it would be maybe the opposite, but yeah, I think if you're living, realizing that eventually we're gonna die, you're able to be like, you know what, I'm gonna maximize the day. So backing up a little more, and then we'll go forward. When it comes to, I guess, like the family foundations of the family, like, did you grew up in the church? You grew up in a faith?
Yes, I did.
That's cool. What was that like?
For a couple of years, it was just, all right, we're going to church on Sunday. So I never disliked it, but there were always times that I was being forced to go to church, which I think is kind of a common thing. If that's just what you do on Sunday, you kind of want to do your own thing and be different and all that. And then we did have the homeschool group was Christ based.
Cool.
So that was like 2 days where there was like a God or a Christ center to it. Now I'm not the best churchgoer. I'll be one of the first to admit that. I think that you can sometimes feel pressured into going into that, but something like this is where I get my. I think doing something like this is more important at the end of the day than going to church. Is sitting down with someone, having a conversation. So I do a lot of that with my teammates at school, just at the dinner table. We'll just talk about our beliefs and how we can be better and have that community with each other.
Yeah, it means so much more than the Sunday is your personal relationship, I believe, with our Creator, and yeah, being able to share that hope with others. I completely agree. That's cool. And was that so that was kind of something in your family for you guys? Yeah, you guys growing up and still is to this day. Like, do you feel like that's an important part of like your family dynamic? Because you have 2 siblings.
I have 3 siblings.
3 siblings. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Would you say that faith has been an important part of your family?
I think so, yeah. And they all have a new church that I haven't been to that much, just because I'm never really home. But when I am home, I do go, and I like that church a lot more than the one that we went to for 7 or 8 years after we moved. So Dang. I think I would enjoy going to that one permanently a lot more.
Heck yeah. And so 3 siblings, where do you rank? Or where's your?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
Yep.
All the heavy is the crown of the oldest sibling. So, you are 21.
I am 21.
21. Okay, and then how old are your other siblings?
My sister is 19, I think. June of 2006. So yeah.
Yeah, just turned 19. Just turned 19.
Yep. And then my older or middle brother is 17, and then my youngest brother will be 11 this month.
Wow, dang! Are you close with your siblings?
Yeah. I text with the 2 older ones relatively often.
Yeah, the 11-year-old might not have a phone yet.
No, he does not.
Dang, that's cool. What are they all doing? I guess the 11 and 15-year-old are probably. Well, like you said, the 15-year-old brother is doing some classes at Conifer, but they're probably just at home and in Evergreen. And where's your sister? Does she go to school somewhere?
Yeah, my sister is leaving actually on Saturday in just a couple of days for her sophomore year at Carroll College in Montana.
Let's go. Heck yeah. Does she run?
She does.
Let's go. Is she also a big distance like you? Or?
Yes, yeah. She was actually better than I was for a very long time, and then unfortunately had some bone issues and wasn't able to run for about 8 months.
Dang.
But she's getting back to it now. She's had a full summer, so
Let's
she should
go.
have a great fall.
Heck yeah. Now, did your parents run at all? Did they do any sports? Is there?
Yeah, my
connection?
dad ran in high school and then a little bit in college. And then my mom actually, she played softball and volleyball and a ton of sports. That's kind of where I got that. She never pushed us to do a specific sport, but she always said, you got to be out of the house. You got to be active, and especially homeschooling. A lot of homeschoolers get a bad rap because of social awkwardness and everything. But I think playing sports was good for me in that realm.
Yeah.
But then she started running after she'd had, I think, my brother. So that would have been when I was 4. So when she was getting into running, I was kind of also getting into running for the first time.
That's cool. And so does your dad still run too, or
no?
Dang.
And my mom is more of a bike lift, hike now. She doesn't run quite as much.
I was gonna say,
she's very active.
If you guys went on like family runs, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I run with my brother a lot. He was actually at outdoor nationals this year, and I was able to do one of my pre-meets with him, which was fun.
Oh, that's sweet. Heck yeah. So he is doing it too.
Yes.
So does that mean does your youngest brother want to do it as well? Or
yeah,
is he doing
did middle school cross country.
Wow.
This year, and he's doing. He does taekwondo. That's his big sport right now.
Wow.
But I think he will probably get into running a lot more in high school.
Dang, that's cool. It's like the family business, the family thing. Probably certainly inspired by their successful older brother. But yeah, let's get into. So we were talking about we were high school, and then we kind of backed up a little bit. So you were saying earlier that your junior year when you started running pretty well, especially good times, super high, you're like, I think I want to run in college. So how did that process go? How did because then you started at another college before Cornell, right? So kind of talk through how all that went.
So I was initially wanting a scholarship, as everybody who gets into sports wants. And D3 doesn't do academic or athletic scholarships. It's just academic. So I was looking at the D2 level, NAI level, because I wasn't super fast. For obviously the dream was the D1 level, and I thought if I ran well my senior year, I could do it. But ultimately, my senior year really didn't turn out well. I had some mental issues going on where I would get a mile into a race and start hyperventilating and just could never put it together that year. So that was super humbling for me to have this breakout junior year where I run 16.0s over and over again and then be stuck in the 18s for most of my senior year. I didn't make state. I actually never, and Colorado's broken in terms of high school running, so I never made an individual track championship at all. We made the 4x8 once, and then I missed out on state my senior year as well.
Dang.
Or for cross country. And I ended up committing to an NAI school in Nebraska, Midland University. So I was there. I had a decent fall. I started working through some of the issues that I'd had my senior year, and then really started putting it together over the winter. Interestingly enough, I was doing an 800 block, and I had always been a distance runner. And then I ran a decent mile, a good 3K. And then I decided I wanted to run the 10K outdoors. So I ran the 10K. I set the school record, qualified for nationals, and then I was just fried by nationals because I was only running like 35 miles a week.
Wow.
And
so less than high school.
Oh yeah, way less than high school, but the intensity was so much higher. We were working out 3 times a week, running 6 days a week. 3 of them were workouts.
Wow.
So it worked very well short term, but by the end of May, I was kind of burned out. And then I kind of decided over the winter. I think I want to go somewhere else where I'll have a better shot at success long term, because I was the only freshman my first year, and then we got no distance commits for the next year. So there was a great class a year above me, but it kind of seemed like we weren't going to be able to sustain success, and I wasn't really going to have people to train with long term, especially because I knew I could do more. So I kind of bet on myself.
Love it.
And my girlfriend, actually, who we'd been dating since my senior year of high school, she came out to visit me at one of my meets in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then while she was there, visited Cornell College, which is right down the street from Cedar Rapids, and loved that. So I had actually been recruited by the coach in high school, but I was like, oh, D3, I don't want to do that. And also the team wasn't very good at that point, but then they had really turned it around by the time my freshman year was finishing up. So I came out for a visit my over spring break and just loved it. Got all of my financial stuff figured out and decided I was going to transfer.
Let's go. Before we go farther, you said a couple things. Colorado state qualifying is broken. Is that because you just need to run, is it top 18 fastest?
Yeah. And usually, I don't remember what it was my junior year. I know my senior year it was 9:18 in the 3200 at altitude.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah.
And one of my club teammates ran at state 9:06 or 9:08 for the 2 mile, which was like top 5 or top 7 all time for Colorado, and got 4th.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy state, and it continues to be. I mean, so many good runners from here. And then one of the other things you said mental issues with running. Do you think it was like you putting a lot of pressure on yourself, like anxiety? What do you think that was that you had to work through?
I think the biggest thing was I just needed to grow up. I think I needed the change of scenery to get to college. And I mean, I've been training in the same place for 4 years, which, I mean, that's not the bigger issue. I think the bigger issue for me is I was just bored. I'd never really left the house. And I think it was especially over COVID that it really hit me, where even just having the option to go somewhere else was nice before that, but then being stuck in the house all the time and then being forced to be stuck in the house really made me struggle. So I think getting out of Conifer and having my own space and just being able to grow up into who I wanted to be was really the big thing that allowed me to get out of that rut.
No, that makes sense. That is COVID was a weird time, and I think for me personally, it was really impactful, even though it sucked. Like, I broke my sacrum right before COVID happened, but then I also I got baptized a couple of weeks before that, and so but I think it was good for me for life to slow down. Literally, I couldn't even I could barely walk without pain, but it really helped, I guess, me focus, and I feel like a lot of people in the world were going through things with the forced slowdown, and so it sucked at the time, but I feel like for me it was ended up being so impactful in my faith walk and my personal journey. But I had similar, I guess, like my senior year of high school too. I was feeling a lot of pressure too, and I was also immature, and I just had to kind of learn that, and at that time, like, running was my god, and I was just like so focused on it, and I was holding so tightly to it that I was just super anxious about it, super anxious about performing, and so that's why I guess I asked that, and I ended up passing out at the Nike South meet qualifying for NXN. I was supposed to easily qualify, and I remember being like super devastated from it. But even at that age, I realized like, it's okay. Like at the end of the day, it is running, and like I was able to kind of let go of it. Still not fully let go of it at that time, but let go of it a little bit, and able to have a really good track season after that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard for even in high school, like at that young age. I mean, for a lot of athletes that are looking to compete at the next level, and like you want to obviously perform well for your team and do well individually, but you're trying to earn a spot on a college team, and you're trying to get a scholarship and make some money. And why did you decide to choose the school in Nebraska? What'd you say it was called?
Midland University.
Midland. Yeah. Why'd you choose Midland initially?
They just gave me a really good scholarship. I narrowed it down to 2 schools, Midland and then Concordia St. Paul in the Twin Cities. And I thought I would be happy either place, and I was just gonna go to whoever gave me the bigger scholarship.
There you go. Heck yeah. Sometimes it comes down to that. And so then you went to Cornell, and yeah, to my understanding, you've kind of just gotten better every year. Maybe talk about your journey with Cornell, because now you've had, is it 2 full years there?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Talk about those 2 years.
Okay. Well, the big thing was I got back to running mileage. I got 80 miles a week prescribed this summer before my sophomore year, which really got my fitness back to where I wanted it to be. And I was able to qualify for NCAAs on the grass, and then again indoors. I took a minute off of my 8K PR in our first meet.
Wow.
Which was fun. And then I took another 30 seconds off by the end of the year. So that was big to start running PRs again, because I hadn't really been seeing great PRs for the last couple of years. And then really indoors where I put it together, and kind of shocked myself where I went out and ran 14:09 on a 200 flat track, which was like one of the fastest flat track times in D3 history, one of the fastest underclassmen times in D3 history. And that was just complete shock. Like I thought I had this plan in the back of my head where I was going to try to run like 14:05 to 14:10, but I didn't really think it was a reality until I got like 4K in, and I looked at the clock as I passed 4K, and I was at whatever 11
something,
11 O's or like high 1050s, and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And then unfortunately, so that was really that season was the culmination of 90-mile weeks at altitude over Christmas break. I always come back here, get 5 weeks at altitude, and unfortunately I made the mistake of not bringing enough shoes, which sounds like a very runner specific issue, but I brought 2 pairs of shoes back with me, and then my Vaporflies for workouts, and I went out and ran 19 or 20 miles at like 6:10 pace with some of the Tin Man team, and it was all on pavement, and my shins started hurting and my calves were really tight afterwards, and I didn't think anything of it, and I ran on it for 2 months. And I had all the success. I ran 8:09 in the 3K. I ran 4:11 in the mile, which was a 20-second PR from the year before. And all this was on flat tracks. I got the nickname the Flat Track King from the D3 Glory Days announcers, which was kind of funny because everyone else was going out to Boston and Iowa State and these other or banked or 300-meter tracks. Yeah. And I was just doing it all at Wartburg at Cornell.
Yeah, and for those that don't know or don't maybe realize, is that a 200-meter flat track is really hard to run fast on, because it's such a small distance and the turns are really tight. It's much different from a 200 banked track, because it's just easier. It's easier on the body when the bank is kind of coaxing your body into the turn instead of you having to do the whole deal. So it's a lot more difficult to run quickly on those tracks. Sorry, go ahead and keep going.
I was so running all these fast times. The other thing we were doing is we were ripping on the track. We were doing 600s at 5K, 600s at 3K, 800s at 10K, like all these track specific reps. And I was a little concerned about it because I had always burned out when we started doing speed work in high school, but I figured that was just like I needed to get stronger, I needed to get faster. Then I showed up to indoor nationals at Virginia Beach on a banked track, and I was seated first in the 3K and third in the 5K, and I took 19th in both of them.
Oh man,
almost, or 21st in both of them, almost dead last. And at that point, I was running on a grade 4 stress fracture.
Oh my gosh! And was this your second year or your third? Or it's
first year at Cornell.
First year at Cornell.
Second year of college.
Yeah.
And that hurt. But I think that result, even though, I mean, I'm still embarrassed by it, I still haven't been able to go back and watch those races. Because in the 5K, I went out at national record pace. I had, I don't know, a 50-meter gap on the field at 1,200. I had a gap on the field at a mile, and then it was around 2K that everybody blew by me. And
were you just in total pain at this point?
I didn't feel my shin when I was racing.
Wow.
But this was more so I was just burned out. I ran the triple at conference. I ran 14:45. Came back an hour later, ran 4:16 in the mile, and then ran like 8:33 in the 3K the next day.
Yeah.
So I was pushing from that, and then I ran the DMR the next week at Wartburg to try and qualify. And I was racing every single week, all of indoor, and it was just too much.
Yeah. And was your shin hurting this whole time though?
Not in the races, but every step of training hurt, and it made all of my running, like grade 4A is almost as bad as you can get without a full fracture. Like if I had
crazy.
Ran on it for like another week, I would have been out for a couple of months. Fortunately, I caught it just in time. I was in a boot for 6 weeks. I was taking calcium, I was taking collagen, I was taking everything that you can possibly take. I was in the pool for an hour and a half to 2 hours every single day because I wanted to come back for conference for outdoors. And I did, and it didn't go how I wanted it to, but I think that injury ended up being really good for me because my coach he was telling me that whole spring, and then that whole fall afterwards this past year it's so easy to get fast. Like anybody can do one big block, get really fast. The hard part is staying fast because that's mental. Getting fast is physical, staying fast is mental. And I think being out for 6 weeks and watching from the sidelines, not only did it give me this renewed drive where I'm never gonna not give it all that I have, because I know how much it hurts to be watching from the sidelines as the national championship happens. But I didn't have to deal with the expectations that I had set for myself that indoor season.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, I was gonna ask kind of how in general, just in our conversation was going to ask like about some setbacks or just the inevitable setbacks that always come with running or just in life in general, and how they've shaped you. But I mean, it sounds like you kind of answered that question. Is that your biggest have you been healthy since then?
I have been, yes.
That's cool. And so then from there you rolled into this past cross country season, where you were running really well up until the national meet.
Yep.
And do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I ran PRs almost every meet, or ran a big PR to start the season, and then I had a couple rough races as I was in a huge training block. But then I ran another PR at conference, basically tied my PR regionals, and it felt like a tempo, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna win nationals. Like there was no doubt in my mind. I'd seen what other people could do. I knew how easy that 24:17 felt. So I was gonna go out and win. And we did a workout Tuesday before nationals. I did a K at 2:41. We did it was like a 400 at 58, and then the rest to finish off the K at 8K effort. So I was just rolling, and then I did some mile repeats at like 4:55 after that.
Wow.
Felt so easy. I'm gonna go win nationals. And then I'm super susceptible to cold for some reason. And I don't know if I wasn't sleeping right, if I wasn't eating right, or what it was, but
a low body fat maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. It was Wednesday morning, or no, Wednesday I felt okay on the run. Thursday morning I woke up and I could barely get out of bed, and I called my coach and I was like, I don't think I can travel. Like, I am so sick right now.
Dang.
And I ended up traveling, and I was in third place at a K. I was just praying, like, let me get into the race and just get my adrenaline going and forget about it. And it did not work out that way. And I finished in 272nd place, which hurt, especially because watching that race, I'm still confident if I'm healthy, I'm winning that race. Just seeing how it played out, seeing where people made their moves and all that. I think my race strategy and how fit I was, I'm very confident that I could have won that race.
Man, yeah, that's hard.
So
it wasn't your time.
Yeah. And so I had in my Strava bio for the longest time the worst championship racer in NCAA history, because I took dead last in the 10K my freshman year, second to last in the 3K and 5K my sophomore year, and then like bottom 10 at cross nationals, which like cross nationals, a lot more people qualify because you have teams going. You have some of the regions aren't quite as deep, and then it's 7 men from each team.
I feel like a lot of good runners have blown up at cross nationals. Though I just know countless stories, and myself included. I had a devastating day at Terre Haute, and I never want to go back to that.
I was
place.
also at Terre Haute.
Oh my gosh, that if you're having a bad day at Terre Haute, this might be a very niche thing for the non-runners to listen to that are listening to this. But Terre Haute is in Indiana, and it's quote unquote cross country town USA, and just in November it's probably going to be bad weather, and
it's always muddy.
It's muddy. It's like it is like cross country weather, but if you are not feeling ready to rock, then you can be eaten up. And cross nationals too, at least in my opinion, is like the most it's a pressure chamber, and it's also like it's intense because the course, no matter the division, I feel like the course is just absolutely lined with people screaming bloody murder you the whole time. And you can have an amazing season like you had, but then people will judge you off of just how you do at nationals. And it's hard. And like a lot of people go into the meet a little hurt, a little burned out, and people go out too hard, which you do kind of have to go out really hard and cross. But I'll have to say, but then you did flip the script this past indoor and outdoor season to then be a good championship race. So so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I finally got the monkey off my back.
Let's go,
so to speak. At indoor nationals, I got 5th in the 5K, and I don't know, that was a relatively well executed race. I'm still a little frustrated that I didn't take more risks in that race, because I was telling myself leading up, I'm going to take the lead at 3K no matter how much it hurts. And then we were running like 14:10 pace, and I was like, I kind of talked myself out of making my move at 3K. I was like, we're running fast enough, I'll make a move later. And that's when the move got made, and I got dropped for the race for the win. But had a really big season. I flipped the script on my training. We pretty much just did threshold. We did an occasional 1K at 5K or a couple 400s at mile, and I ran PRs in the mile, 3K and 5K, which was great because, again, I was struggling a little bit with the expectations of living up to what I'd done the previous year. But to go get PRs and everything was big. And then outdoors went 29:15 in the 10K, which for my first 10K really in 2 years to get a 2-minute PR, that was really good. Still kept doing my threshold specific work. I hadn't done any double thresh yet, but just single threshold, 7 or 8 miles of volume in a session. and then the occasional tune-up workout, and then I was able to get the double All-American outdoors, and I'm really, really proud of how I ran those races because I made a move for the win in both of them.
Let's go.
Wasn't quite able to finish it, but at least I went for it, and that's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's that leads into my next question, and also just reflecting on what you said, like in sport and in life, especially in running, we have to be willing to take those chances and to be reckless sometimes. I know that's something that I'm still learning, even though I'm 8 years older, is like, how can I, just like take a risk here, and nobody will ever regret blowing up or like going for it. And so that's awesome that you were able to reflect on that and be like, I feel like I did everything I could. And now you're going into, will it be your last year at Cornell no matter what?
Yes. Yeah. I only have my 5th year at D1. So I haven't really heard. I've asked a couple people if I can run and do PT school. My major is kinesiology. And haven't really gotten anything back. So this will probably be it for me at the collegiate level.
Wow. Yeah. And so let's talk about that a little bit, because you also, that's why you're in the area this summer, is you're working with Boulder Run Physio.
Yeah.
Shout out to our boy Kurt, the best PT in the
goat.
area. So that's, you're also doing like a pretty sweet degree and path. What is your talk about maybe your degree and like maybe future plans with that as well.
So I'll be graduating in the spring, obviously, and the current plan is to take a couple gap years, pursue professional running, and then I'll be back at PT school. At some point, I'll probably just go to Anschutz. I'm planning to move out here at some point soon after I graduate, just because of all the running opportunities. The community out here is awesome. All the dirt roads are great, and then you can very easily get up to Magnolia or Rollinsville, get up to 9,000 feet. And if you really want a good aerobic effort on the day, but then, the long-term goal is to be, whether it be a Boulder Road Physio or somewhere else, I want to be a physical therapist specializing in elite runners.
Let's go. So would you say, like, so the tour is, the vision or the mission statement behind the tour is pursuing your goals with a rooted and hopeful mindset. So I guess the first part of that, what would you say your goals are? Like, what is your tour with your life right now, your current journey?
Right now, it's kind of it's going to be a little cliche, but it's kind of a chip on my shoulder thing, where in running, for sure, I think I've done everything outside of win a national title. And so that's obviously the goal for this year, but it's also, like I said a while ago, I bet on myself with this move to Cornell, and it's paid off really well. But I think in another life, I definitely could have been a D1 type guy. So it's kind of, I guess, coming for what I feel I deserve, with these super fast times. And also, I'm at a program where we can't travel at all. So it's fun to go and run on a flat track run. We're going to get on the Iowa Bank track this year, but it's fun to go beat people who go to Boston and who can travel and go to Brian Clay and all this. And then, well, more on the PT side of things, I've seen too many runners see bad physical therapists and be told, "Oh, take 4 months off," and when that's not what you should be doing if you want to be able to build back without getting hurt. So I think there's definitely a need, especially in Boulder with how many runners there are. There's a need for more people who specialize in that and who can work with a coach and work with a training plan to keep you doing what you're successful at, keep you doing what you love. And I would like to fill that role.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And it's huge to being an elite runner yourself, like being through it. And I know that's that's a cool thing with Kurt, because Kurt is qualified for the Olympic trials in the marathon, and he ran at University of Florida, and he kind of knows, he's been through it, and he's super smart and knowledgeable himself, and works with, I think, not almost exclusively, but tons of pro runners.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's a cool thing. You kind of, me, the first time I saw him, kind of just trusted him automatically, and then he's been a huge help for my running. And so I know that'll be, you already have that experience coming in the door, and so that's pretty cool. And kind of having the blue collar chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
I know I experienced a bit of that, I guess I would say, a little in high school, definitely not at Arkansas, because we were it was just a very privileged program and time there. And then kind of going from that to Roots, though, when I was with Roots, and I mean still with Haxa now, training with those guys, it's not a super glamorous setup, but it definitely is motivating. And I'm not a full-time runner. I don't make a ton of money doing it. And so it definitely, I think is a motivating piece for me too. And when it comes to like the second part of the statement, rooted in hopeful mindset, like that vision is for me. And like I'm personally rooted in faith, and like to look at the world from a hopeful, optimistic. I'm an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
Where would you say like your mindset comes from? Like maybe just talk about your mindset approaching racing training, maybe just in general, kind of how you frame things.
I think my skill set is that my big skill that makes me so successful is that I can see the big picture, where for me, at least, I know this isn't the way that all people operate, but for me, I have to go to a dark place when I race. So that's why I do a lot of the things that I do in training. I go rip 20 miles at 6 flat pace. Like, you just I think for me, I have to train my mind, because I know I'm not the toughest guy out there. So I have to be uncomfortable for a long time. And then on race day, like at some point it's going to get too hard, where if you're positive, you're going to slow down, because everything in your body is telling you to slow down, and you have to find something to flush that urge. So for me, it's not the most positive. It's more so I want to make everybody else hurt. But then I take the positivity. Like, you do need that in running 100%. So that's more so like just pushing the limits. Like, I know I can go run sub 28, and I know I can go run in a couple of years sub 210 for a marathon. So it's just seeing what you're capable of. And that's the shocking part. That's, I think, to this day, the most, I mean, and you saw it with Cooper Lickenhouse the other day. Like, he had no idea that he was capable of running 142. Just complete shock.
Craziest race ever.
That was me when I ran 1409. Like, I had no idea I was capable of that. And that's the feeling that you're chasing all the time in running.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, a couple things there. Like, you have to be able to dig deep, especially in this sport, and I feel like in a lot of sports. And like I personally tell myself, I don't know what's going through your mind during a race, and as probably those have picked up, Isaac is more of a distance, more of a 10K 5K on the track guy, and so that sometimes gives your brain some time to work.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, in a 1500 or mile, sometimes the only thoughts going through my head are like breathe and keep up with the front pack.
Yeah, that was me the other week at the Mile High Mile.
Oh man, yeah.
I think it was so somebody asked me for a race recap, and I was like, none. There was nothing. I just latched on and tried to stay.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy race. Yeah, you had a huge. What was it? Was it 408?
Yeah, 408
408
raw, which is
up at
pretty
altitude. Yeah,
pretty good for that was in the middle of a 100-mile week.
yeah, which that's super impressive and really bodes for the season coming up and for you. And yeah, I personally just like try to encourage myself and tell myself that I have worked hard for this, and that I deserve to give myself a chance.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like, why not me kind of thing. And it sounds like you're saying some of the same things, and so much of it has to start in your mind. And I think I've said it before on this podcast, but we kind of runners have to be naive
Yeah.
about some things, like to give us a chance. Like, everyone that's ever run fast was once running much slower.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be able to be like, I can put myself there. And yeah, there are tons of stories of those huge breakthroughs. And yeah, like, if anyone listening hasn't watched the US Trials 800-meter,
oh man, what a race.
My gosh, yeah, USATF, just go to YouTube, USATF 2025 800-meter, like 16-year-old kid getting second is super cool. And yeah, just his look of shock. But you also put in all that work, and when you meet an opportunity, and sometimes the stars align. And I think a lot of people in our sport like forget that the racing is like the fun part and the time that we get to cash in. And that's what all the 100-mile weeks, I'm not doing 100-mile weeks, are for. And so yeah, that's super cool. And so yeah, now we're coming up on this season. And so I guess yeah, a couple more things before we let you go. But where can people, so you're doing cross country indoor and outdoor, but
Yep.
Where, first of all, I guess, where can people find you on social media?
I have Instagram and Strava are my two big ones.
Let's go.
I'm going to be I've actually been talking with our school videographer who's in my grade, and I'm going to be making some running content coming up here soon, because you kind of need to do that if you want a contract now, which is a little frustrating, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think I can do a good job with it. So a lot more coming there.
Brands love that. Where are you going to be racing this fall? Do you know your fall schedule?
I'm opening late. I don't know when I'm opening yet, but it'll be late September, early October.
Cool.
So right now I'm just in base building.
Let's go.
A lot of double T, a lot of 100-mile weeks, and I'm trying to get so fit that nobody in D3 can run with me.
Heck yeah. And man, that's exciting. And love cross country. And I'm excited to keep up with your journey as you go. And I guess a couple more questions for the viewer or the listener. What is the number? Very cliche question. I think a lot of podcasts ask, but like, what is the best advice that you think you could give someone? Could be just life advice, or it could be running related, or anything.
For life advice, I'd say just find what you love and do it. Don't do things that make you sad. That's the biggest thing that I've started doing since I got to Cornell, is I've spent my time the way that I want to spend it, and not feel like I have people on the outside pressuring me to do things that I don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a huge reason why I started this podcast and this brand, is because I feel like I talked to a lot of friends, family, acquaintances, even people out. I think I've told this story, but just talking to them about their day or how they're doing, and or how their work is, and most of the time they're like, I don't like it, I hate it. And I'm like, well, then why are you doing it? And I understand that's easier said than done. Some people that's the only job they could have at the time, or they're stuck in the situation. And that's the hope and encouragement. And for having your story on too is like, we can always find a way to do things that set our heart on fire. And I fully believe that God puts passions, and talents in us for us to steward. And so I really like that. The final question that I ask every guest on the podcast is if you could have one quirky feature to your future home. So this is a non-traditional feature that you would like to have as part of your future home. What would that be?
Ooh, I remember when you asked Brock this, and he said something like a built-in espresso machine or something.
Yeah, in the wall.
Yeah. I've actually talked to a couple people about this. I'm gonna have a treadmill room that has super AC. So nobody wants their treadmill in their garage where it gets all dusty and then it breaks sooner. And nobody wants their treadmill inside because it's like 70 degrees in your house all the time. So I'm going to have a room that's like just the size of a treadmill and a TV. So it's not that expensive to maintain, but I'm going to be able to AC it down to like 35, 40 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
So that you don't get overheated while you're running, but it doesn't get dirty. It's going to be like fully insulated, fully like carpet, ceiling, walls, all of that.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good, that's sweet. Yeah. Cause that's like I personally have many qualms, I think, with running on the treadmill, but one of them is definitely how quickly you get hot.
Yeah.
And you're sweating out, and it's just taking an eternity. And isn't like, I'm trying to remember what like the ideal temperature is for running races. Is it around 50 to 60 degrees? Something like
for
that?
like a 10K or a half, yeah. I know for the full, it's like 42. It's way cooler than you think it is.
Really, for a full? Wow. I guess that makes sense because you're just. I wonder if they have. I don't know if there's any full marathons that really are operating. Around 42 degrees. That's an interesting deal. But Isaac, man, thank you so much for taking the time. This was a blast, and it was an honor, and just super excited for your last season at Cornell, and maybe Division I elsewhere, maybe not. Yeah. And either way, stoked that you'll hopefully be out here in Colorado, and many more miles to go before we sleep.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm honored you dusted off all the equipment in a few months for me.
Let's go, man. Yeah, we are back, and so thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more exciting conversations to come in 2025 and beyond, and keep pursuing your goals. Have a good one.